Ahead on the CFL Report, a rough week. The thrill is gone in Toronto. The Stampeders uncover a rising star. And kick returners, the CFL's artful Dodgers. The CFL Report, brought to you by Foster's Lager, the Golden Throat Chama. Hi everyone, welcome to another edition of the CFL Report. I'm John Wells. Lots of tradition in the weekend ahead. Thanksgiving means family gatherings, turkey, and football. And in the CFL, it is time to make a run at the playoffs. Coming up, a preview of the weekend ahead. But first, a look back to the big winners in Week 12.
Week 12 began on Friday night in Calgary. The Toronto Argonauts with an 8-4 record visiting the Stampeders with a record of 5-7. Linebacker Ben Zambiazzi made his debut in an Argonaut uniform, but his presence was overshadowed by an injury to Gil Finnerty. The All-Star running back broke his leg on this play late in the second quarter and could miss the rest of the CFL season. The Argonauts compensated for the loss of Finnerty with a powerful passing attack that piled up 396 yards and 3 touchdowns. Toronto cruised to an easy 42-25 win over the Stampeders. Game 2 of the week featured the 7-5 Hamilton Ticats playing host to the 5-7 British Columbia Lions. Ticats defense led the way in the early going. Les Brown picked off a Matt Dunnigan pass, flipped it to teammate Lance Shields, and he took it the rest of the way to the end zone on the reverse as the Ticats built a 14-point halftime lead. But the Lions battled back to take the lead with just over a minute to play in the game. Dunnigan hooked up with Anthony Parker for a 43-yard pass and run score, and the BC Lions led it 24-23. Ticats had a chance to win the ball game on the final play, but Paul Osbaldiston missed a 32-yard field goal attempt, and Larry Crawford ran the football out of the end zone to preserve the BC victory. Final in this one, the Lions 24, the Ticats 23. Week 12 continued Sunday afternoon in Winnipeg. The Blue Bombers, with a record of 6-6, hosting the Saskatchewan Roughriders, who had won 4 in a row and had a record of 8-4. Tom Mickey injured his elbow in the pre-game warm-up, leaving Sean Salisbury at the controls of the Winnipeg offense. And the rookie didn't look out of place at all on this day. Here's a 64-yard touchdown pass to James Murphy that gave Winnipeg an early lead. The Green Riders battled back, however. Kent Austin crashed over from a yard out to give Saskatchewan a 20-17 lead at the intermission. But the Bombers dominated the second half. Paul Clatney blocked a Terry Baker punt, and Michael Allen recovered for the touchdown. And the final in this one, Winnipeg 32 and Saskatchewan 20. And the final game of Week 12 featured the 8-4 Edmonton Eskimos hosting the 1-11 Ottawa Roughriders. The Eskimos jumped out front quickly. Tracy Ham hooked up with Chris Skinner for a 21-yard touchdown, and the Eskimos led it 10-0 early in the first quarter. Edmonton blew the game open with 2 more majors in the final period. Damon Allen connected with Jim Sandusky from 12 yards out, and the Eskimos cruised on to an easy 40-12 win over Ottawa.
And so with 5 weeks to go, the CFL standings for the final run at playoff positioning. First to the west, where the Eskimos maintain a 2-point advantage on the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Heading into Week 13, the BC Lions hold on to the final West Division playoff spot by 2 points on Calgary. In the east, it is the Argos by 4 on Hamilton and Winnipeg. The Bombers and the Tiger Cats are dead even at 7-6, and Ottawa's struggle does continue. Before we get to the crucial week ahead, a look back to special achievements from Week 12 in the Foster's Stars of the Week.
Winnipeg wide receiver James Murphy earns an honorable mention for this week's award. Murphy had a terrific game against Saskatchewan on Sunday, catching 5 passes for 130 yards and 3 touchdowns, as the Blue Bombers beat the Rough Riders to move into a tie for second place in the East Division. Winnipeg middle linebacker James West also earns an honorable mention for his performance against Saskatchewan on Sunday. West contributed 1 sack, an interception, and several key tackles in a winning cause for the Blue Bombers. But our Foster star this week goes to Pernell Moore of the Toronto Argonauts. The rookie wide receiver was a favorite target of Gil Renfro in Toronto's big victory over Calgary last Friday night. Moore caught 9 passes in the first half alone and capped a terrific evening with a long fourth-quarter touchdown. In all, Moore finished with 12 catches for 215 yards and 1 touchdown. Pernell Moore, the Foster star of Week 12 in the CFL. The award for the top Canadian performance of the week goes to another receiver. Slotback Tom Richards of the Edmonton Eskimos earns the award for his play in Edmonton's win over Ottawa on Sunday. While Richards didn't find the end zone, he was a major cog in the Eskimo offense as he caught 8 passes for 203 yards of offense. Tom Richards, Canadian star for Week 12 in the CFL.
Lots ahead on the CFL Report. Up in a moment, a major star on the horizon in that Stampeders secondary. Welcome back to the CFL Report. The week just passed will be remembered not for its victories, but rather its incredible losses. In Hamilton, the Tiger Cats will miss their quarterback leader, Mike Kerrigan, gone for the season. And in Toronto, the Argos will try and regroup after the loss of the elusive Gil Finnerty.
The thrill is gone, at least for a while, and it will be up to either Kevin Cummings or Lorenzo Graham to step into Gil Finnerty's spot Saturday in Ottawa. Cummings has a little more experience, having spent parts of the last 2 seasons with the Argos.
It's such a wide variety of things you can do. They can have you out at the wide receiver spot or as you know from the backfield, and so many different things you can do in our offense, and that's what I like about it. You're just not limited to one situation, running the ball. You know, there's so many different things that you can do out there, and that's what makes the game fun.
2nd and 6.
But if his own knee is healthy, it's likely that Lorenzo Graham will be the starter on Saturday. Graham got off to an impressive start with Toronto until he went down with an injury in Vancouver on August 11th. Almost 2 months later, he's back practicing and itching to play.
I won't push it, you know, because this type of game, I want to play to get back in. My knee's doing great. I've been practicing, you know. I just haven't took legs, and once I get in and get that, I'll be all right. But I think I'd play Saturday with no problem.
Graham is an interesting story. He's from a tiny community just outside Mobile in Alabama. He went to school at Livingston University, where he excelled in the school's pass-oriented offense. It turned out to be the perfect training ground for the CFL.
Basically, it's nearly the same thing we run up here, except it's a wing set offense, and we don't have as many receivers, but it's basically the same. The only thing that affected me when I first came was the motion towards the line. I had to get used to that, you know, because even though I knew I could do it, it just seemed like I was wrong, you know. You're gonna get a penalty. Once I got used to that, you know, it wasn't any different, but Livingston has helped me a great deal.
Neither Cummings nor Graham is thinking about replacing Finnerty entirely. Neither expects to run for better than 100 yards every game until Finnerty returns. But both will be happy with the chance to try, and no one should be surprised if the Argonaut offense doesn't miss a beat.
In Calgary, this season has been a roller coaster ride for most players. The ups and downs have produced turmoil and uncertainty. It has been a tough year on newcomers and on veterans. Through it all, though, rookie defensive back Chris Major has not only survived, he has thrived.
Silent but deadly. Don't underestimate Chris Major. He's one of the quietest players in the league, but put him on the football field and it's a different story. He and Lance Shields of Hamilton lead the league in interceptions. They grabbed 9 so far, and Major isn't finished yet. But he still remembers the beginning, the day he picked up the phone and talked to Canada.
Well, I tried out with Kansas City. And I made it to almost the last cut, and then I was released, and I went home for a week. And then Coach Q gave me a ring a week later and asked me, did I want to come up to CFL and play? And I wasn't doing anything, so I just came on up.
Chris had a great start last year and picked up where he left off. His coach says he likes Chris's work ethic.
He's caught the balls that he's had to catch, and anytime you can get your hands on the balls and make the catches, you can lead the league in interceptions, and pretty much that's what he's done.
Major began his career in junior high school. He started as a receiver but changed his mind. He likes being on the other side and remembers his beginnings in football. It would take the sharp eye of a coach to point him in the right direction.
Well, I spent 8 years in Brooklyn, New York, and I spent the rest of my life in Valdosta, Georgia, small town in Georgia. And they recruited me really basically out of PE class in high school. And I started there, and that's when I first started playing defensive back in my junior year in high school. And from there on, it's been pretty good.
Playing in Canada has been an experience, but Chris likes it here. He says it was hard to adjust at first, but he's made the transition between the NFL and the Canadian Football League.
Well, the field was wider, and then we had that extra guy on offense, and then the passing game. I mean, in college, in the southeastern part of the U.S., I mean, they're going to throw the ball, but the majority of the time, they're going to run the ball. I mean, you know a team was going to run the ball, but up here in the CFL, nothing but pass. I mean, if you can stop the pass, you have a pretty good chance of winning.
Chris Major isn't one to take a look at the stat sheets and shoot for league records. He just wants a shot at the playoffs. So if he gets the interceptions, it means that he's done his job. Good for him and the Stampeders. For the CFL Report, I'm Teresa Hergert in Calgary.
Leif Pedersen joins me now. Before we get to Leaf's picks, a quick thought about the Calgary situation. Where quarterbacks are concerned, Larry Kuharich is a tough guy to play for. Rick Warman is now gone.
Well, he's the latest victim in the Calgary Stampeders shuffle, and boy, in my opinion, I always liked the way he played, and certainly someone throughout the CFL can use an experienced quarterback like Rick Warman, so don't be surprised if he surfaces somewhere else. The new quarterback is Eric Kramer. Now, don't get excited. It's not Tommy Kramer. Eric Kramer, I don't know if he's a brother, cousin, whatever, but he's the new Calgary quarterback.
As you look around the Canadian Football League, these Ottawa Rough Riders, who are now one win on their season, have stocked this league with quarterbacks because Dillon now shows up in Calgary as a backup. So that's 3 players, 3 quarterbacks elsewhere.
Well, you know, Ottawa's done a great job of assessing talent early and then letting it slip away. Tom Burgess in Regina, we've got Gil Renfro in Toronto, and of course now Todd Dillon in Calgary. So it's too bad they couldn't get one of these 3 back to help them out because they're struggling, and it doesn't look like it's getting any brighter for them.
And ahead on the CFL Report, the fastest guys in the league. We'll be right back.
The CFL on TSN, a top lineup that includes the Rough Riders, the Argonauts, the BC Lions, and the defending champion Edmonton Eskimos. More touchdowns and more excitement. Plus, every week, the CFL Report has highlights, interviews, and the latest injury reports. Friday, October 14th, the Toronto Argonauts host the Ottawa Rough Riders live from Exhibition Stadium. CFL blackouts have been lifted, so join us live from Toronto.
Special teams play an increasingly more important role in Canadian football these days. Some great returns in 1988 have been game breakers. Here's a look. Edmonton's Henry Gizmo Williams stood alone in 1987 as the league's most dangerous punt returner with 4 touchdowns. But 1988 has seen a host of players emerge as challengers to the throne of CFL Return King. Toronto rookie Pernell Moore showed his abilities in the second game of the year with a spectacular 109-yard return for a touchdown against Ottawa. James Jefferson of Winnipeg also threw his name into the ring with an exciting 75-yard touchdown return against Saskatchewan in Week 8. Williams, meanwhile, won't give up his title without a fight. The Giz was held in check until Week 9 when he exploded for a 100-yard return against the Hamilton Tiger Cats. That was Gizmo's 6th career punt return score, the most in CFL history. But that record may not last long. The new man on the block is Earl Winfield of the Ticats. He already has 4 return touchdowns this season. And if he can keep up that pace, Winfield may set a new standard by the end of the year. And it is nice to welcome the CFL's #1 return man, the Tiger Cats' #1 receiver and return specialist, Earl Winfield. Thanks for coming by. Why are you having this kind of success this year?
A lot of my success, John, has come from the other guys. I have to keep saying that because it's the truth.
Because they make you say it, obviously, right?
No, but, you know, they do so much for me. They have confidence in me as a returner. I have a lot of confidence in myself. And when I get the ball, they block, and all I need to do is run.
You know, Earl, it seems in the past there was just really one guy that was a great punt returner in the league, like a Clash one year, Larry Crawford or whoever. But this year, Pernell Moore, Gizmo, James Jefferson, there's so many of you. Why do you think there's so many good ones now?
You know, you look at these guys, and they're great athletes. But I think a lot has to do with the confidence that their teammates having them as returners. And, you know, it's so exciting when you can break a punt or a kickoff. And everybody is getting pumped up when they, you know, the guys get a chance to return a ball, you know, and they've been breaking them.
Is this the fun part of the game for you? I mean, you catch some passes, too, out there. But is the return game, the punt return game, is that the fun aspect of football for you?
Yeah, like I said, you know, when you return a punt or a kickoff, it can electrify the fans and even your teammates. So it's so exciting because usually when you return one for a touchdown, it's going to be over 50 or 60 yards. So whenever you can run that far with a football, it's going to be exciting.
Well, let's talk about something. A former teammate of yours and friend of yours, Rufus Crawford, is the CFL all-time leader in all-purpose yardage. Of course, that's receiving, kickoff returns, punt returns, whatever. He's had over 2,800 yards. Now, you've got 2,136, just almost 700 yards behind him. Can you do it this year?
When I go out, I don't really think about the records or the yards. I go out to play as hard as I can to help my team. Rufus is from my hometown. He went to college in Virginia, Virginia State University. And, you know, it's good to keep it in the hometown.
It'd be nice to break that record, though, wouldn't it? I mean, you got to think about it just a little bit.
A little bit, you know. Records are made to be broken.
Sure.
But you don't necessarily go out thinking, hey, I got to run one back because I might break the record. I just go out and I work hard.
Well, we got a couple of your returns on tape. Now, maybe you can just tell us exactly what's going through your mind and take us on one of these returns.
In this one right here, I had some great blocks in the initial wall that was set up. Right here, Tom Dixon, he almost caught me.
You were teasing him there, weren't you? Slowing down?
But I had some great blocks on that play.
Now, this one coming up is against the Argonauts. Do you remember this one as being more difficult?
Yeah, because at this point in the season, everybody was really keen on me because I had a couple of returns for kickoff, for returns for TDs. And I just got to the open field, and I cut back right here, and I saw Selwyn Drain coming up on me, and I just sprinted as fast as I could to the end zone.
Seems like on the punt returns, all you're really looking for is that first key block, and then from there you can freewheel it yourself and make some good yardage.
Very true. Like right here, you see Wally Zitley, number 21. He makes one block just enough for me to scoot through the hole. After that, it's open field, and that's when instincts take over, and just run to the end zone.
You were just about stopped on that one, which you broke a
almost. Pasaglia, he's a good athlete. He's probably the best athlete out of all the kickers in the league.
You see, what is the look in the kicker's eye? Because normally it is the punter, the last line of defense, and these guys are not noted as tacklers, are they? What's the look in their eyes when you're coming at them and there's one man back?
You can really offset a kicker when you return his punts. You can get him totally out of his game because he don't really want to kick it to you because he's scared that you may return it. With me right now, all the kickers in the league are frightened to kick me the ball, and that's the way I want to keep it.
Do you think there's a couple more punt returns for touchdowns in your season this year?
I'm going to go out. We got 5 games left. The guys, like I said, they have a lot of confidence in me, and I have a lot of confidence in my ability. When I go out, I'm just going to run hard, and whatever happens, it's going to happen. And hopefully I can get in there 1 or 2 more times.
Well, you know, the good thing is, I mean, you've scored a lot of touchdowns, and that's great. But, you know, kick after kick, you're averaging almost 14 yards a return. And when you start to total that up over a course of a game, if there's 10 punts, I mean, that's a lot of extra offense for your team.
Yeah, it is. You know, personally with myself, I set goals. Before games, I write down little scripts, average 10 yards on a return, just 10 yards. I mean, if you get 9 or 10 balls on a return, that's 90 yards, which is a lot of yards for your punt return team. And I sort of go about it like that. I just set goals for myself, and I try to reach those goals.
Well, continued success. We're hoping you crack the record in the CFL in 1988. Good luck to the Tiger Cats the rest of the way as well.
Thanks a lot.
Coming up on the CFL Report, Marty Adler picks the Week 13 winners, and this guy tries to beat the odds. We'll be right back. All right, let's have some fun. Pick some winners for Week 13 in the CFL. Marty Allen Adler versus Leif Patterson. Did he get you again last week?
No, it's a pretty boring week, John. Both of us were 1-1, but this week it gets a lot tougher. We have to pick 4 games now. It's a lot tougher for Marty than it is for me. I'm having a good year. We're still in question whether he's a good line setter and a good picker, but we'll find out when he comes
All
in.
right, let's see how he does for the week ahead, Week 13. Marty.
4 games to talk about this week, guys. The first one is a rematch from last weekend. Hamilton going into British Columbia. Now, I picked Hamilton last week. They had the lead. They looked like it was going to be a laugher, and then they folded like a bad tent. Had nothing to do with Kerrigan, the quarterback, going down. Hamilton pulled one of those Jekyll and Hyde situations. When they're supposed to win, they lose. When they're supposed to lose, they win. This week at BC Place, BC's the favorite by 2.5 points, but Hamilton will cover. Next game up, Toronto at Ottawa. Now, how can you pick a team to be an underdog in the CFL by 50 points? You can't do that, right? Because these guys are, after all, professionals. But I'd like to make it 50. I can't. I'm picking the Argos by 13.5. They won the previous 2 contests, 34-11 in Toronto and also 41-7 in Ottawa. They'll win this one, too, and it will be another piece of cake. Calgary going into Saskatchewan. Interesting matchup here in that these 2 teams have played twice before. The home team has always won, and Calgary has kept Saskatchewan basically close in both games. I'm making Saskatchewan 4-point favorites, and I think Saskatchewan will finally cover a game for me. Next game, last one of the week. On the holiday, Edmonton going into Winnipeg. Interesting to note about Edmonton, after they win big at home, as they did last week against Ottawa, they usually go on the road, and whether they're the favorite or not, they will lose or they won't cover the point spread. Now, Winnipeg, on the other hand, even though their record is 7-6, what's made a difference with this team, Sean Salisbury. This kid from USC was a high school star. Got cut a few weeks ago by Indianapolis, came to Winnipeg, has been a monster. The guy, I like him too. He goes out and he talks about drug abuse to kids. He's been playing like he's on drugs. He isn't, but he's a great kid. I think you'll like him. Eskimos are favored to win by 2, but Salisbury and Winnipeg will cover.
Well, Marty has set the line. Do you like it this week?
I think he's done a pretty good job this week. I think maybe the most difficult one to pick will be the Toronto game in Ottawa, and we'll get to that in just a second.
All right, begin with a Friday game with the Hamilton Tiger Cats at the BC Lions. How do you see this one?
Well, you know, BC won last week, and there's no way they should have won that game. Now, Osbaldiston, a 32-yard chip shot that he misses, but not only does he miss it, he can't kick it far enough to get the single, at least the tie. So I cannot go with Hamilton Tiger Cats based on that kick. BC, give the 2.5 points under the dome at BC Place, they'll cover.
Not based on the fact that Kerrigan won't play or anything else?
No, based on the fact that they missed that kick when they should have won that game. Boy, you look back at the end of the season and you say, which games are the should-haves? That was a should-have.
All right, let's move to the Saturday game. As we see this one, Toronto at Ottawa, and Gil Finnerty is gone. That has to be a bit of a factor.
Oh, it really is. Marty likes Toronto, gives 13.5, which I think is a very fair line. It was 14.5 last week in Edmonton, and they were able to cover, but I'm going to go with the Ottawa Rough Riders. Now, look, I don't know if they're going to win the game, and they probably won't win the game, but they have to play a little better at home. The fans have been fabulous. You fans in Ottawa deserve a pat on the back this year for the way you've supported your team. They are going to cover. They will take the 13.5 points, and they will win this.
All right, Calgary-Saskatchewan is one of the Sunday games. This is a big game in the West.
Oh, it's a great game. Calgary has to have a win to stay close to BC Lions for that final playoff spot. And of course, Saskatchewan does not want to lose 2 games in a row. So Saskatchewan by 4 at home. I have to go with Saskatchewan.
Edmonton-Winnipeg. Well, how do you see this one?
It's a tough one. Winnipeg played well enough last week against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Edmonton won 2 teams off wins. I don't know. I'm going to take Edmonton to 2 points. I know Marty likes Winnipeg at home, but Edmonton has been playing too well, and they want to keep first place.
All right, let's see how Leif and Marty stack up as we look to the week ahead in Canadian football. First 2 games, are you guys agreeing?
No, Marty likes Hamilton. I like BC, and then, of course, he likes Toronto. I'm going to go with Ottawa on the underdog. I don't know. That could be a big mistake.
And out of the Sunday matchups, you're even on Saskatchewan and splitting on Winnipeg. Edmonton.
Well, he likes the Peg. I like the Edmonton Eskimos. So I'm going 3 against Marty this week. So next week we're going to tell you who did the good job, and it's going to be the guy sitting right in this chair.
All right, thanks for joining us on this week's edition of the CFL Report. Join us again next time here on TSN. CFL Report, brought to you by Foster's, the Golden Throat Charmer.